Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Yapurnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmedi Murtibhedavibhagine Vyomavadvyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namah. Chaitanyam Sarvagam Sarvam Sarvabhutaguhashayam Yat Sarvavishayatitam Tasmai Sarvavide Namaha. Verse number 5. Swapnas satyo yatha bodhad dehatmatvam tathaiva cha pratyakshadev pramanatvam jagat syādatma vedanāt Vyomavat sarva bhutastha bhuta doshair vivarjitah sakshi cheta gunashuddha brahmevasmi sakevalah nama rupa kriyabhyonyah nityamukta swarupavad ahamatma param brahma chinmatroham sadadvayah aham brahmasmi karta cha bhokta chasmiti ye viduhu te nashta jnana karmabhyam nastikas samshayah. So in the last verse, Bheda Veda Matanusarinaha, those who have the mata or the understanding that Veda is teaching both Veda as well as Aveda, that is the teaching of Veda. That the Atma is Bhinna as well as Abhinna. The state of cause, that is Aveda. State of effect, that is Veda. In clay, there is Veda. In pots and pans, there is Veda. Or In Karma Kanda, the Vedas teach that Atma is of the nature of Karta Bhokta. You perform the karma such Agnihotra here and you experience the results in heaven. So one who is Karta here becomes Bhokta and it must be the same in entity. So Atma is Karta and Bhokta. That is what the Veda, the Karma Kanda teaches and it is Pramana. Since Veda is Pramanam, therefore Karma Kanda also is Pramanam. Therefore, what the Karma Kanda teaches that Atma is Karta Bhokta. And Upanishad teaches that Atma is Brahma, you are Brahma. Ekamevatvi, one without a second, so that also is Pramanam. So their conclusion is that Veda, the entire Veda is Pramanam. And Veda is teaching these two things that Atma is Karta Bhokta as well as Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi Karta cha Bhoktasmi chasmi iti ye viduhu. Those whose Vedanam, the understanding, the conclusion is that Atma is Karta Bhokta based on what the Karma Kanda says. And Atma is Brahma also based on what the Upanishad or Jnana Kanda says. Te nastaha jnana karmabhyam. They are lost to both the jnana and karma. Meaning that they have not understood the jnana kanda or karma kanda. Because one pramanam such as Veda, no pramanam can teach contradictory things. That when you perform karma, you are a karta bhokta. And when you are by yourself, you are Brahma. So your nature is conditional. The truth cannot be conditional. Has to be one. So if both are supposedly taught by Vedas, one of them should be true, other must be properly understood. We cannot say that what the Karma Kanda says is not true, but it is conditional. Based on certain conditions, what Karma Kanda says is true. Which the next verse explained. But those people who conclude that this is the teaching of Veda, that Atma is Karta Bhokta as well as Brahma, they are lost or they have no benefit of Karma Kanda as well as Jnana Kanda. They are not understood either of them. And therefore, in effect, what it amounts to is that they do not consider Veda as, they say Veda is Pramanam. But at the same time, they say that the Veda is teaching these contradictory things. So what teaches contradictory cannot be Pramanam. Therefore, by accepting this contradictory teaching, they are in effect declaring that Veda is not Pramanam. So Nastikas, Nastikaha Syu. If Veda is not Pramanam, then there is not Pramanam karma or Jnana, anything. So they are deprived of both karma and Jnana. So they do not realize what is the meaning of what they are claiming. This is called self-goal. Self-goal means you are scoring goal against your own self. So then the discussion continues. Nanu Ninda matrana katham advaitamata siddhi. This because you condemn us. Te nashtaha jnana karmabhyam nastikaha. That is how you are censuring us, condemning us, calling us Nastikas. Ninda matrana katham advaitaikamata siddhi. Just because you condemn us as Nastikas or non-believers, how does that establish Advaita Ekamata Siddhi, that Advaita alone is? We don't say Advaita is not. Advaita also is and Dvaita also is. You are claiming Advaita alone is. How do you how do you establish that? By condemning us, how do you establish your Paksha that all there is Advaita? Tatra Pramanasa Sambhavat. There is no Pramanam, there is no means of knowledge available to us to determine that what there is one non-dual. There is no Pramanam for that. Ataha. Therefore, this is what is said in the next verse, verse number 9. Dharma dharma phalair yoga hai ishto drishto yathatmanah shastrat brahmatvam apyasya moksho jnana tatheshyadham. You say that there is no pramanam that Atma is Brahman or non-dual. Veda is the pramanam. Upanishad is pramanam. In what way? Dharma phalahi yoga ishtaha adrushtaha. So Tika says Atmana dharma phalahi sukha dukkhadiruphi yoga sambandha pramanantari adrushtopi. See, there is no way for us to establish that the one who performs the karma is the one who experiences the result. We don't have any pramanam, any means to establish that. That what I'm experiencing now is the result of the karma I performed. There is no way to establish that. So dharma phala yoga adrushtaha. Yoga sambandha. Dharma gives rise to sukha, adharma gives rise to dukkha. So sukha dukkha. Therefore, when we experience sukha or pleasure, it is assumed that it is a result of dharma or punya karma, virtuous action I must have performed in the past. And when I have to go through pain, then we assume that it must be the result of some vicious action, adharma I must have performed in the past, done in the past. So there is no way of establishing this connection. Even then, you are accepting it. Whole karma kanda is based on the law of karma. Law of karma is law of cause and effect. As you sow, so you reap. So not only that the karma phala is commensurate in keeping with the karma, but the second thing is that the one who performs karma is the one who experiences karma phala. No, we have no way of establishing with the means of knowledge available to us. We have no way to establish this. Adrushtaha. Still ishtaha. Shastrat, next line is Shastrat. So Atmana dharma phalayo adushto yoga yatha ishtaha. Just as the association of Atma with dharma adharma is unknown to us, meaning that there is no evidence or no means available to us to establish the connection of Atma with dharma dharma and karma phala. Ishtaha, and still it is accepted. How? Tika says, punya vai punyena karmana bhavati papah papena ityadibhi ishtahangi kirtaha. Still we take it for granted based on a statement or a similar statement of the Vedas. Punya vai punyena karmana bhavati papah papena. You perform punya karma, then you become punyavan and therefore experience happiness. Papa papena, on the other hand, you perform vicious actions, then you result like the experience you're a papi and therefore experience the pain. So that statement, which here comes from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, connects these things. That one who performs punya karma becomes punyavan, and one who becomes papa karma becomes papi. So that's the connection of Atma with the karma, and karma phala is in fact stated in this statement of Veda. So we accept that. So that becomes the basis for the karma kanda or for us to accept the yoga or the connection of Atma with karma and karma phala. Punya, punyena karmana bhavati, papa, papena karmana bhavati. Punyena karmana, punyo bhavati is a punya karma is with Atma and becomes punya as a result. Papa karma is also associated with Atma, becomes papi as a result. So this statement clearly establishes yoga or sambandha or connection of the Atma with dharma adharma. Although there is no other way for us to know that on our own, we still accept that based on the statement of the Veda, which we call Pramanam. So Veda is the Pramanam for that. You don't have any of the Pramanam. But Karma Kanda also does not have any Pramanam, any means of knowledge other than the Veda. To accept the connection of Atma with Karma and Karma Phala. So Ishtaha Angikrutaha Shastrat Vidbhit Sheshaha. Still the connection associated Atma and Karma Phala is Ishtaha means Angikruta, is accepted. Shastra Vidbhi, not by ordinary people, by the people who know Shastra. Ordinary people will follow what the Shastra Savid. What the knowers of Shastra say is what we accept. But how do they accept based on this statement of Veda? Veda is Pramana. So it's not that ordinary people have arrived at this understanding. It is the knowers of Shastra who arrived at the understanding based on what the Veda says. That means that your basis of kartrutva, bhoktruta, performing karma here and experiencing result in this swarga or elsewhere, or naraka, is all based on simply statement of Veda. Veda is the pramanam for that. There is no pratyaksha pramanam, no experience, and no other way for you to connect. So if you thus accept the base of karma kanda simply from Veda, then why can't you accept base of jnana kanda also from Veda? Brahmatmavasya moksho jnana tatheshyatam asya brahmatmamapi. Then asya atmana brahmatmamapi. That atma is Brahman, that also accept based on what the Veda says. Brahmaveda Brahmaya Bhavati Jnanadi Mokshascha Aham Brahmasmi. Clearly say that Atma is Brahma. Brahmaveda Brahmaya Bhavati. It says that the knower of Brahma becomes Brahma. That is called moksha. That one knows oneself as Brahman, that also Veda says. And by knowing Brahman, one becomes Brahma and then becomes liberated, that also Veda says. So Veda specifies both the nature of knowledge that Atma is Brahma and nature of moksha, which is becoming Brahma. So Brahmatvamyasya moksha jnana tatha ishyatam. So what we are claiming that Atma is Brahma, and therefore that knowledge which means is equivalent to becoming Brahma is means of moksha. That also comes from Veda. So if you derive your basis of karma from Veda, then we derive a basis for jnana also. So we are not condemning you just like that. Ninda is not based on simply figment of imagination. We are basing our assertion in the same manner that you are basing your assertion. Tamil viditva atimrutyamedi nanyah pantha vidyate ayanaya. That is Shvetasvatara Upanishad. Tamil viditva atimrutyamedi. Tamil viditva mrutyam atyedi. That ati goes there. Tamil viditva tamahatmanam viditva. Atimrutya means mrutyam atiyeti atyeti. He transcends death, becomes immortal, becomes liberated, becomes mukta. So that statement of the Shvetara clearly says how the knowledge of self is a means of moksha. Nanyah pantha vidyate ayanaya. Other than knowledge that I am Brahman, ayanaya, for the destination, for moksha, nanyah pantha vidyate. There is no other way other than self-knowledge for attaining moksha. Means karma is not. And by saying that nanya pantaha vidyate ayanaya, ayanaya for destination of moksha, anya pantaha na vidyate, anya pantha, the marga or the means other than knowledge is not there. So karma is not the means. So that statement also reveals that karma is condemned as a means of moksha. तथा च भेद कर्मणो निंदितयो. By saying that Aham Brahmasmi, the Bheda between Aham and Brahma also is dismissed. And by saying that Jnanam, knowledge alone is the means of moksha, karma as the means of moksha also is dismissed. So Bheda Karmanoho Ninditayoho, that very statement also rejects Bheda between Atma and Brahma and rejects karma as a means of moksha, not rejects any karma in another way. Shastra, Tatparya, Vishatva Yoga. So what is rejected? Or what is condemned? Cannot be the Tatparya, cannot be what the Shastra wants to convey to us. It cannot tell us that karma is a means of moksha and then condemn karma. It cannot say that Atma and Brahma are different and then say that they are one. So then what is the Tatparya of the Shastra? What is the purport? What is the meaning intended to be conveyed by Shastra? That we have to only arrive at. Shastra makes statements, from that we have to arrive at what is the intended meaning. What is the Tatparya? And there are certain basic rules by which you arrive at the Tatparya. And therefore, Shastra cannot have Tatparya, cannot have intended meaning in what it has dismissed. Shastra, Tatparya, Vishatvayogat, therefore Bheda cannot be Shastra Tatparyam. Karma as a means of moksha also cannot be Shastra Tatparyam because both are condemned. Therefore, Shastra, so if you are fellows that are claiming to be Shastra Anusarina, that for you Shastra or Veda is the Pramanam, and that you follow the Vedas, then Yatha Shastra Artha, Yasha Shastra Artha Pratipadavya iti. Then you should arrive at the Pratipatti, the understanding, conclusion, keeping with Shastra. So what is Shastra? Shastra says that Aveda, Atma and Brahma are abhinna, they are one, non-dual. And that Jnanam is a means of moksha, that is what you should accept. If you people are accepting Shastra or Veda as Pramanam, then this is what you will accept because this is Tatparya of the Veda. So don't say that we are condemning you. Ninda Matra. The Veda also is condemning. Not karma. Karma is a means of moksha, understand. Veda is condemning Bheda as a reality. Not Bheda as a Vyavahara, but Veda as ultimate reality. So if you are the follower of Shastra, then you should also follow that, accept that. So don't say that we are condemning you and dismissing you. We are just following the Shastra. Nanu Atmanah Dharma Phalayogah Shastroktah Manantar Virodhabhavad Tathaiva iti yujyate. So again now questioning your conclusion that this is the Tatparya of Shastra. The argument is presented. Atmanah Dharma Phalayoga Shastroktah. Shastra has said Punyo vai Punyena Karmana Bhavati Papa Papena. Therefore, the yoga, the sambandha, the association of Atma with Dharma, Papa Punya is accepted by Shastrokta. So you should accept it. Mananta Virodha Bhava. Also, for us to say that this is what Shastra says, it should also be necessary to establish that it does not contradict any other pramanam. If your conclusion of Shastra, conclusion from Shastra, is such that it goes out of, is against reason, again accepted means of knowledge, then that your conclusion cannot be right. Shastra is pramanam, all right, but other pramanas are also there. So Shastra should not be saying something that contradicts other pramana. Shastra can't say this is night right now. Shastra cannot say that you are not talking. What is established by other pramanas also should be accepted by Shastra. There must be consistency. So the Karmakandis say that there is no contradiction to this. That Atma is connected with Dharma. He is Manantara Virodha. There is no other pramanam, no pratyaksha other pramanam that contradicts this conclusion that Atma is connected with Dharma. Tathaivaiti, therefore we should accept that on the face value. Punyavai punyena karmana bhavati papa papena. There was the yoga sambandha connection of Atma with Punya. Punya must be accepted on the face value. Tathaiva. Because that statement does not contradict any other experience. If you have an experience is no, I did not do dharma and I got this result. Or I did adharma. If you have some other way of establishing which contradicts the statement, then we have to question. But nobody has experienced which contradicts this statement. Therefore, you would accept that statement and what it says, namely the association of Atma with Dharma on the face value. The second thing is Atma Brahmatvam, that Atma is Brahma, that also Veda says. But we should accept that if it does not contradict our experiences, that Atma is connected to Dharma does not contradict an experience. But what is my experience? I am a Jivatma, and therefore that I am Brahman is contradicted by my experience. Na tatha Atmana Brahmatvam. That Atma is Brahma is stated in the Veda, all right. But that cannot be Tatparya of the Veda because that contradicts our experience. So to rethink your conclusion. Pratyaksha drashta kartatvadi virodhat, because it is my direct experience that I am a karta, bhokta, sukhi, dukhi. So my pratyaksha or immediate experience contradicts the statement that I am Brahman. So that statement cannot be accepted on the face value. But that I am punya, papi, etc. is something that is in keeping with my experience. Therefore, that part should be accepted. So the Purupakshi says that these two statements are not of the same, they don't have the same status. One statement is not contradicted by other pramanam, so you take on the face value. Other statement appears to be contradicted by our personal experience that I am not Brahman, therefore it should be thought about, rethought. अतः श्रुति अनुभवयोः अविरोधाय, therefore you have to reconcile between what Shruti says and what our experience says. There should be reconciled. So after all, the Shastra has to explain our life and not make a statement which contradicts the life. Suppose Shastra says something that is contrary to life, how are you going to understand that? You're not a human being. Suppose it says, this is not daylight. Then how are we going to reconcile with that? Similarly, when it says you are Brahman, that contradicts my experience that I am a Karta, Bhokta, Jiva, Atma, Deva. How do I reconcile? Therefore, we should interpret the statements in such a manner that they also account for our experiences. What is the experience? Kartrutva, Bhoktrutva is experience. Therefore, this Aham Brahmasmi and Aham Karta Bhokta, they will be, this is that Tatparya, the Veda will be in that. If you have to evaluate or judge the statement Aham Brahmasmi, in keeping with the experience that I am Karta Bhokta, that means that Aham Brahmasmi also is true under certain conditions. Aham Karta Bhokta also is true under certain conditions. Then only you can reconcile what the Veda says with our experiences. Therefore, Veda Vedo Adanaya Vede. So only way we can do justice to what the Vedas teach us is if we accept this conclusion. The Veda is teaching us Veda Vedo. In certain conditions there is Veda, other conditions Aveda, both are equally right. Idiche. So again the Purupakshi makes an argument to justify his position of Veda Vedo. It says, if this is your contention to establish the Veda Vedo, says Ma Evam, no? Your reasoning is not right. Kartruttvadi pratibhasasya asatvat. You are basing your conclusion that Atma is Karta Bhokta based on your experience. But Kartruttvadi Pratibhasasya Asatvad, the Kartrutva, Bhoktrutva, which you think you are experiencing about yourself, is a Pratibhasa, is only an appearance and not a reality about you. Asatvat. That I am Karta, I am Bhokta. That is Pratibhasa, that is an appearance and not a reality about I am. Meaning Karta, Bhokta, they do not enjoy the same degree of reality as I am, therefore they cannot be joined. Because one is Satyam, other is Mithya. Therefore, Shutchikta Advaita Pratipakshatva, and therefore, the so-called experience that I am Karta Bhokta cannot contradict what the Shruti says, Aham Brahmasmi. You follow? Aham Karta, Aham Bhokta, that so-called experience cannot contradict what the Vedas say that I am Brahma, because even when you say Aham Karta Bhokta, you are not Karta Bhokta. That Kartrutva, Bhoktrutva, that you think it is in you, is a pratibhasa, is an appearance. Like a color in a crystal, that when you say that crystal is red, see, that is a pramanam. When you say crystal is red, then also it is not red. It's a pratibhasa. Redness in crystal is a pratibhasa, is an appearance. So when you say that Aham Karta, Aham Bhokta, it is not real because Kartrutva Bhoktrutva is pratibhasa in Atma. It appears in Atma. It doesn't belong to Atma. They do not make Atma Karta Bhokta, they appear in Atma, just as the red color appears in crystal doesn't make the crystal red. Therefore, Pratipakshatanupatte, therefore, that experience, so-called experience, Ahankarta, Aham Bhokta, doesn't have the strength of contradicting the statement Aham Brahmasmi. Iti. So now that statement or experience, Ahankarta, Aham Bhokta, is examined. Whether that so-called experience, does it really reveal the nature of Atma? Or it reveals a delusion or Brahma about Atma? Aham Karta, Aham Bhokta, which you claim is our experience, that conclusion, does it reveal the nature of Atma? Or it reveals only a Brahma or a delusion about Atma? Because Brahma and Prama, you have to establish now, you have to ascertain. Just because you see something doesn't make it right. I see a snake, that doesn't make it right. This is a snake. Is it a reality or is it Brahma? Is it Prama or Brahma? So Aham Kartasmi, suppose when you say that, is it Prama or Brahma? They think it is Prama, we say it is Brahma. This snake is not Prama, not true knowledge, Brahma, a delusion, whereas snake is a Pratibhasa. So this is a snake. The snake does not have the same reality as this is, you follow? Although you come join them. But this is real. Snake is Pratibhasa. So even though you think this is a snake, even though you make a statement this is a snake, that does not establish that this is a snake. That does not contradict the knowledge this is a rope. This so-called experience that this is a snake does not have the strength to contradict the Shastra statement, this rope. Shastra says the rope. I say the snake. So when I experience this snake, how can you say it is rope? You know, Shastra says so. He says, you think that you're experiencing snake, are you? What you're experiencing is rope. And you believe that you are experiencing snake, where snake is a pratibhasa, an appearance. Therefore, this statement or your so-called experience, this is a snake, cannot contradict the statement this is a rope. Pratipakshatu anupatteti sadushtantamaha. So, how the so-called experience cannot be a pratipaksha or a contradictory thing, contradict what the Shruti says, is explained by Drishtanta. Yamaha rajanadhyastaha vasana swapnadarshibhi anubhuyanta eveha tatonyah kevalo drushihi. So that experience here is brought to our attention where we feel that I'm experiencing a given thing, whereas it's just an appearance you're experiencing. It is dream. So in the dream you feel that already came earlier anyway, aprabodhat. But anyway, swapna satya aprabodhat was said. But now we are talking about the experience. So in the dream you experience that, you experience a variety of things. You experience an elephant and a mountain, etc. Do you really experience them? Or what you're experiencing is merely an appearance of mountain and elephant? It's an appearance. How do you say that? Because the scripture says that. That in the dream you are not experiencing objects, you are experiencing vasanas. The vasanas which are inherited from the waking state experiences. Those vasanas present as though there is a tangible object there. And not recognizing that what you are experiencing is vasana, you take that to be real experience. So just because you think that you are really experiencing something, that doesn't make it real. It is the pratibhasa of an elephant, pratibhasa of a mountain, not a real elephant or mountain. So kartru bhoktritva is a pratibhasa, not a reality. So the Tikagara, this is a statement that comes in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. तस्य एतस्य पुरुषस्य रूपं यथा माहारजनं वास इति आरभ्य यथा असकृत् विद्युत्तम् इति अन्तेन श्रुत्युक्ताः या वासनाः. In that passage in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Shruti has described variety of vasanas. And how those variety of vasanas create variety of experiences. With the dreamer doesn't know that these are all the things created by vasana, he takes them to be real. So, this comes in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Tasya etasya purushasya rupam तस्य आदिदेविकस्य एतस्य आध्यात्मिकस्य लिंगपुरुषस्य मनस वासनामयम् इदं रूपम्. एतस्य पुरुषस्य, of this person, the dreamer, Rupam, manasaha vasanamam rupam. This is the form of the mind which is made of vasana. Yatha maharajanam. Yatha loke maharajanam. So maharajanam. Maharajanam means haridra, means turmeric. Taya raktam, suppose you have colored a cloth with maharajanam, haridra. Then the cloth also becomes, yellow in color. Vasaha vastram. So just as there is a color which is dyed or colored, a cloth colored by turmeric, then many other things are stated here. So, iti arabhya, beginning from there. Then, yatha pandvavikam, yatha avikam, avedam avikam, purnadi ishat panduram. So, just as there is this wool of a lamb which is white or gray, ishat panduram. That's another color basically. Then, yatha indra gopaha, kita vishesha, some kind of a worm. Kausumbavat atyantam rakto bhavati, that's a red, this indra gopaha is a red, worm. So, these are all different colors. Yellow color, gray color, red color. For those colors, different examples are given. Different examples are given. Yatha ajñarchihi, just as the flame of the fire. Bhaswaram bhavati, bright. Yatha pundarikam, pundarikam is white also. But that is bright. This is white. Shuklam. Sakrut vidyuttam. Or it is like hiranyagarbhadehe vasarupam vidyuttam prakashakam sarvatah prakashakam. In short, in dream, people have a variety of experiences. Some can be yellow, some can be red. Now, all these colors, तथा ज्ञान प्रकाश विवृद्ध अपेक्षया कश्चिद हिरण्यगर्भादे वासनारूप उपजायते. So how these different colors are there? So vasanas are also different colors. It doesn't matter what that particular experience stands for, a variety of experiences are there which create corresponding vasanas, in waking state we have experiences which create vasanas, which create corresponding experiences in dream. In waking state, you have the real experience of a tangible object. But in the dream, you think that you are experiencing that object, what you're experiencing is just the pratibhasa. That's all the thing is here. But why is this Upanishad quoted as a pramanam? In the dream, what one experiences are nothing but vasanas. In the dream, you're not experiencing tangible objects. You're experiencing vasanas, pratibhasa, the appearance of the objects or what you're experiencing, and not real objects. Meaning that what you're experiencing may be a tangible object, or it can be simply an appearance of an object. So experience does not necessarily become the basis of conclusion. To analyze what is the nature, what you are experiencing, that is also important. When we experience something, we take for granted that we are experiencing something tangible there. But that may not be the case, as in dream. That's the whole idea. So, in short, kartrutva bhokti is what you are experiencing. It could very well be pratibhasa, not a reality. It's a superimposition or appearance of Atma. Here, Tikakara here also explains. So, Maharajanam. So, Maharajanam is Haridra. And Maharajanam is Ranjitam Vastrari. Maharajanam means turmeric. Maharajanam, a cloth which is colored by turmeric or having turmeric color. Swapna dashayam jagadvasana vasana vasitasya manah. We studied this in great detail when we were in that hall, where the Upanishad described the different nerves in the body having different colors. Those nerves are like transparent tubes, fine, capillaries, which are different colors because they carry fluid having different colors. So, what's the reason why the fluid has different colors? Says Vata, Pitta, Shleshma, Dusita, Rasapurna, Nadishu, Anugadasya. Vata, Pitta, Shleshma. Pitta is red, Shleshma is white, Vata, whatever it is, so you can call it gray or something. So these these humors, Vata, Pitta, Shleshma, have different colors. And depending upon what's happening in your stomach, then accordingly, so the bile that is created or whatever is flowing, the fluid that through those fine nerves, will be of that color, therefore nerves also appear to have different colors. Okay? Then, Atushtadi samudbodhita aneka vasanata jagrad drashtartha karana parinamanasya. Then those colors are now samudbodhita. They are woken up. They are, what shall I say, invoked, provoked by adrushta, by karma. So in the dream also, depending upon what karma is playing itself out, those various nerves, the various fluids in the nerves, they will be activated and they will appear as corresponding objects. In short, lots of vasanas are there from the waking. In the dream, which of those vasanas will manifest themselves as objects, that is determined by karma, adrushta. That is why we have different kinds of objects, and different people are different objects, and so forth. So, karma. Jagradrushtartha karana parinamanasya. But one thing is, the objects that you experience in dream are nothing but the modification of what you experience in waking. Because the waking experience creates a subtle impression called vasana, which when is woken up, then that vasana alone becomes a corresponding object in the dream. Haridraranjita patadirupa sadrushaya bhasamanasya. So mind is like the cloth and vasana has different colors. So mind is colored by different colors of vasana and the mind appears as all those various objects. This is the object, this mind that becomes mountain and that mind becomes elephant and mind becomes good, bad, indifferent based on the vasana, which is again invoked by karma. Drashtru, Drushya, Darshana, Tat Karanadi Bhavena, Nityam Swapna Drustra, Upalabhimanatvad. Therefore, that mind itself, under the influence of Vasana, becomes Drashta, Drushya, Darshanam, and Tat Karanam. In the dream also, we have a Drashta, an experiencer. Drushya, what we experience is mountain, etc. Darshanam, that experience, and Tat Karanam, the means of that experience, the eyes, etc., which are there in the dream. All of these is created by vasanas. So vasanas assume the form of drashta, drushya, darshanam and pramanam. That whole infrastructure which is required for an experience is all propped up or created by vasanas. Nityam swapna drashtra upalabhimanatvat. So whenever swapna drashta or the dreamer perceives and experiences, the experience involves the experiencer, experienced, experiencing, a means of experience. And all of these are always presented by the vasanas. Which vasana will that be? Determined by karma. So this is Vedanta's explanation of the dream experience. Swapna dushyabhyah maharajanadi sudusha vasanabhyah. Therefore, what all is experienced in dream is nothing but the vasana. Maharajanadi sadusha vasanabhyah. Like the cloth which is dyed or colored in a yellow, turmeric. Similarly, also the mind gets colored by the vasanas and there appears as corresponding objects. That vasana creates a drashta, drushya, darshanam, everything. Lingatma saidabhyah. So that is the lingatma or the subtle body. Atma identifies subtle body. That is this dreamer. Drashtatma, Doshisvabha. What is the true nature of the dreamer? The dreamer, the dreamt, the dreaming, the means of experience, all of these are present by vasanas. Understand that. Therefore, the self that experiences all of this has to be different from all of them. Therefore, lingatma saitabhya drashtatma, the drashtatma. So atma is drashta, perceiver of what? The illuminator of perceiver, perceived, perception, Rushisvabhava. So Atma cannot be any of these, all these are all drashya. Understand that if you take the dream experience, then drashta of the dream, darshana of the dream, drishya of the dream, the karana of the dream, all of these are presented there by the vasanas, all of them are pratibhasa appearances. And one that illumines all of these has to be different from them. So the dream experience shows what is the nature of Atma. Atma dushisvabhava vilakshano lakshyate. So therefore from this experience of dream, it points to an Atma which is dushisvabhava, of the nature of consciousness. Because Atma cannot be what is experienced, is his experiencer or illuminator, has to be different from what is all illuminated. So drashta, drushya, darshanam, pramanam, all in the dream, all of them are illumined. They're all part of the subtle body. They are illumined. Because in dream it is subtle body which is predominant. The gross body is not there. So all of these are modifications of subtle body of the mind. Dashta, Dushya, Darshanam, Pramanam. Therefore, Drushi Swabhava, Lingatma Sahitabhyah Vasanabhyah Drashta. But different from all of these vasanas, the Drashta is Atma Drushi Swabhava. So this is to be understood how the dream experience helps us understand the nature of Atma as Drushi Swabhava, because Atma is not Drashta Swabhava, because Drashta also is known or element. So Drashta, Drushya, Darshanam, Pramanam, all of these are elements. One subtle body of the mind takes the form of all of these based on those vasanas. So there, as Prashnovan says, that Devaha Mahimanam Anubhavati. Tatra. In the dream stage, the Devata means mind experiencing its own Mahima. How one mind has become the Dashta, Dushya, Darshanam, etc. Experience is that. It said that, but it can experience all of the elements. Therefore, the dream experience, if you analyze the dream experience, and that is why it is important to understand that all of these are created by vasanas, that all of these are appearances, namely Drashta, Drushya, Darshanam, all of these are because they are products of vasana, therefore their appearances, pratibhasa. And Atma is different from all of them. What is different then? Only Drushi is left. Drashta is not Atma, Drushya is not Atma, Darshanam is not, Drushi is Atma. Drushi is Swarupaha, Svabhava, Vilakshanaha. Altogether, distinct from all of these, Lakshade is what is here now suggested, pointed out. The dream experience itself now suggests or points out that Atma is Drushi Swarupa. And then Upanishad confirms that. Tatha kartrutvadinam drishyatvat anatmadharatvam evayati. So Drashta, Drushya, Darshanam, all of these are Drushya. They were Anatma. And they are not Atma. So that Karta also is not Atma. The idea is that how Kartatva, Bhoktutva is a pratibhasa. That is what the Siddhanti wants to establish. So takes to dream experience. Having the dream, the Karta and the Karma and the Karanam and the Kriya, all of these are nothing but the modification of subtle body or the mind based on the vasanas. That configuration is did by vasana. That Atma is none of them. Atma is distinct from all of them. Therefore, it is very clear that Kartrut, Karta, Bhokta, they are all appearances, mithya. Therefore, that Atma is different from Karta, Bhokta is established from the dream experience. Then in the waking state also, तथा कर्तृत्वादीनां दुष्यत्वात् अनात्मत्वमेव इति निश्चितम् एव यह जागृत अवस्था में that karta, bhokta, etc., which are determined to be mithya in the dream, that karta, bhokta is mithya in the waking also because there is nothing to make them real. So the analysis of dream experience establishes that Karta, Bhokta, and all the whole world is mithya. The same setup is found in the waking state also. First, to establish that the dream experience is a result of vasana. There are no, because there are fellows who say that there are real objects. Is there not? You don't say real elephant. Is vasana my elephant? So that is first established. That they are not real, they are appearances, and that includes karta also, bhokta also. Therefore, the analysis of dream experience establishes that karta, bhokta, all of these are appearances of mithya. तथा कर्तृत्वादीना दृश्यत्वात्, because in dream the karta and all of the drushya anatma dharmatum, they are the therefore anatma and not atma. Same nischaya then continues in waking also. In waking also the kartrutva bhoktrutva that you think belongs to atma is not illumined by atma. Just as there are illumined in the dream, so in waking also there are illumined by atma. There are anatma dharma, not atma dharma. Therefore, aham karta, aham bhokta is not a real experience, it is an appearance. You cannot present that experience as an evidence that look, what we say does not contradict Veda. That our experience confirms what the Veda says, that Atma is Karta Bhokta. No, it's not an experience. It is only an appearance and not that you're not experiencing Kartrutva in Atma. In the waking also, it is only a pratibhasa. Therefore, your experience does not establish the Kartrutva, Bhoktrutva of Atma. And therefore, you cannot conclude that your experience contradicts Aham Brahmasmi. Tata Kartatvadi Dharmakad Lingat. The linga means subtle body, of which the nature is Kartatvadi, that is the nature of subtle body. Anya Kevala Shuddha Drushi Atma Ityartha. Our Atma is Lingadanya, different from Linga Sharira, subtle body, which is what we arrived at by analyzing the dream experience. Anya, Kevala, non-dual, Shuddha, all impurities are illumined. Drushi, just shining, that's all. Drushi, shining, consciousness, ityartha. So how beautifully the dream experience is analyzed and how the experience enables us to confirm Aham Brahmasmi, not Aham Karta Bhokta. So that way the contention that we are experiencing Kartrutva Bhoktrutva Bheda. And Upanishad Aham Brahmasmi, all that Bheda Bhedo, Adaraniyo says no. Bheda is not a real experience. Therefore, doesn't fall in the category of pramanam. That cannot become the basis of conclusion about nature of Atma. Anu it eveha tatah anya kevalo drushi. Therefore, Atma is tatah, different from the linga sharira, which is karta bhokta. Anya kevala, non-dual, drushi, the nature of the drushti or consciousness. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamada Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. શ્રી ગુરુભ્યો નમઃ. હરિ ઓમ. કાલથી નવરાત્રિ છે એટલે કાલે આ ક્લાસ તો રહેશે જ 7 to 8. પછી 9 વાગ્યાથી પાઠ શરૂ થશે. પહેલા લલિતા સહસ્રનામ સ્તોત્ર અને પછી નારાયણ નમસ્તુતિના સ્તોત્રો એ પ્રકાર રહેશે.